But there's kind of like some pretty deep meaning behind this one.
Generally, it's about Costello thinking that fame is like this nightmare of like artifice and phoniness and like just plasticity. And he hated that so much. He was definitely anti-establishment and anti-commercial and all that stuff. And again, that's the punk ethos, right? What are you drinking there, mister?
It's don't sip it like that. I was trying to do like a little, like, you know how you sip tea, you might go don't do that with.
Why'd you do that? Why would you do that anyway?
I just tried to make some noise on the microphone to be funny. I feel like I just took in a lot of alcoholic fumes, and that was a lot.
Wow, that's karma. That's what you got for trying to be funny. All your teachers are laughing at you right now.
I see. I never listened to them, so it's just onwards, right? Onwards.
See, Alex.
Yeah. Well, you know what? All that finger pointing didn't matter. Whatever. Not a good listener.
Hey, where's that little rock that you had in your drink? That black thing. Do you still have that?
Oh, I do. It's not here. Yeah. But it's it is a whiskey rock. It's ginormous. Right. Karina got that for me for my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
So that keeps your whiskey cold without watering it down.
Right.
Yeah.
Look, all my decorations are down.
Oh, we've made it, folks. We are pre-recording outside of Christmas.
It's over.
It is over. It's over.
I was actually kind of glad it was over, to be honest. You know that?
Christmas?
You know that, well, I'm like an over-celebrator, right? So like when Christmas comes around, it's once a year. And, you know, we put the tree up during American Thanksgiving. So the Friday, which is Black Friday in the States. Yeah. And it's like, you know, it's party time because there's parties and everybody's in a good mood and it's like, woo. So those last 2 weeks, you know, that last week between Christmas and New Year's is like this, you know, I always joke that Wednesday, you're kind of in this like nebulous, like, what day is it? You don't even know, you know, it's like, it gets dark early and kind of the sun comes up late. Yeah. And it's like this, like you're just in oblivion almost. It's like, when is this going to end?
Yeah.
I'm ready to get back to normal now.
Yeah. Yeah. Beyond it. Yeah. All the driving, at least for us. Yeah. The eating.
Oh yeah. Right. But the eating is not the best.
You just don't care, right? I mean, I don't care every day of my life, but like Christmas, it's like really bad for not caring, you know?
Oh God. Yes. Yeah. It is. So it is good to get back.
And you and Amy, you're you know, you guys work out. You guys look after yourselves.
Yeah, we try.
It's kind of a tough time of the year, I'm sure, for the.
We try, but I'll tell you, man, we wind it out during Christmas. We let
Did
it
you?
go. Yeah, it's not a lot of working out going on. There's a lot of eating going on. That's for sure.
That's okay. Yeah. That's good. It's time to do it.
Yeah, a couple drinks too, Alex. One or two.
Yeah. I'm not there yet anymore. I'm not there again yet. Used to a lot. Drink a lot around Christmas time. Used to be like we go off to college, right? Yep. And then you come home for Christmas, and then everybody from college is home. So you know that's where we go on the town in Whitby, right? And maybe you find ourselves at the Royal, and then you know we just end up, you know, that was a. I don't think so. Walked by it the other night though. I was in Whitby during the holidays, and actually it was funny. We were out for a drink on a Tuesday. And all the bars shut down at midnight on a Tuesday.
Yes.
Me and my buddy Mick, we were walking down the street. We walked past a place that had a lot of like music still going. And he's like, "Oh, dude, what about this place?" And then I stopped and I looked up.
No.
It was the Royal. So I was like, "It's the Royal, man." He's like, "Oh." And we kept on walking.
Oh, so he didn't know.
He didn't realize. Oh, he knows that it's there, but we didn't realize we were in front of it. We just walked past a building that had all this music coming out of it.
Oh God!
It was the strip club. So, anyways, it was a good time. Good holidays.
Cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of holidays and gifting,
yes.
Look what came in the mail for you and for me.
Oh, yes. Yes. So yes.
You'll remember that
T-Bone
on the Jimi Hendrix episode. Yeah.
Go for
Jimi Hendrix episode. We said, wouldn't it be cool to have a t-shirt with deliberate distortion, do not correct? And sure enough, in the post, friend of the show, T-Bone Erickson, sent you one and me one. There's two.
Amazing. Look at those. T-Bone. Unreal. I love it.
That's so cool.
Once I get my hands on that, I'm going to wear it every show.
Every show?
No, I shouldn't have said that. It's not going to be every show, but it'll make frequent appearances. It'll make frequent. It's awesome.
I'll get it out to you. I'll get it out to you probably tomorrow. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, yeah. It's fine. It's good. Sweet, man. That's
that
so
was
cool.
I thought that was very cool. What a nice surprise. I laughed because I didn't know what it was. And I opened it and I was just laughing. Like, how awesome is that? That is the coolest gift.
Fantastic.
So,
fantastic
folks,
gift.
Please feel free to send gifts to my home for Alex and I anytime you wish.
Yeah. We'll accept it. We will accept it. No blackmails or bribes, depending on what they are, but anything you'd like.
Gifts in good taste, always welcome.
There you go. That's a good way to put it. Gifts in good taste. Fan-friggin-tastic.
So,
yeah.
Mr. Huard.
Yep. You know, it's funny. Just as we're about to get into it here, I usually pull up the album I played in the background. And in my recent search, I had Nana Muscuri, because on the Police episode, you said Nana Muscuri's a great musician. Doesn't mean I like her music. I was like, I have no idea who that is. So I was looking her up
really?
prior to this. Yeah.
She is definitely not your cup of tea. I'll tell you that right now.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Boy, you and Bobo become best of friends there, eh? You guys just, loving the skips. Yeah, BBQ, you guys just skipping the same songs.
Well, we see it the same way.
You see it the same way.
Yeah.
Good for you guys. That's awesome. Good for you. Okay, sorry, I just want to say that because I was pulling up iTunes and Nana Muscuri was there. Onward.
What are we talking about today?
Elvis Costello's and the Attractions.
Yes,
Elvis Costello and the Attractions, this year's model.
Yes.
Now, was this the extended edition?
Yeah, there's two. That's a funny thing. There's two bonus tracks at the very end. One of them turned out to be a huge hit for Costello, Radio, but not on the original record.
Okay. Well, again, we get into the US, UK records, right? There's a difference between the US and the UK types. So, yeah, you love this record. You're a big fan of this one.
I do love it. Yeah, this is his second record. The thing that I love about Costello, and Costello's funny because he was up there. Story about Bruce Springsteen and he. So Springsteen obviously was like this kind of guy who is very rugged and authentic, and
blue collar.
He was like America's hero, right? Blue collar, yeah, just like a pick and shovel, salt of the earth guy. And he had the distinct image, and Costello's image was quite different. He was like this angry punk who, didn't rely on looks or image. In fact, he kind of, in his lyrics, he kind of, judged a lot of other people's images and that sort of thing. But Springsteen said in an interview that he was always looking over his shoulder to see what Costello was doing in the 70s, because Costello, he kind of saw him as like his adversary. He's like, when Costello's record comes out, I would listen to it and see if I can better that one. Isn't that interesting? Because people would never make that connection. But
Not
that
at
was
all.
very much that was very much a thing for Springsteen. He was kind of a monkey on his back.
That is that is really interesting though, because I know that there's a song, maybe you know it, that Costello talks about. Is it Radio, or he talks about, the song Springsteen sings about the music coming in through the radio that always made you feel sad or something like that. And so he talks about Springsteen's lyrics. So I thought that he more so looked at him as just like looked up to Springsteen, which I'm sure he still did. But
he did.
Less of adversarial in a way.
It was kind of like this just healthy kind of competitive relationship that they had. Because he was doing the same thing. Costello had his eye on what Springsteen was doing too, because they were both like super prolific, right? But yeah, there was definitely a relationship between those guys where they were kind of watching what each other was doing and trying to one up each other. But see, again, Costello very different, because his records, especially this record, just full of incisive kind of societal observations, right? And even down to the cover, it was intended to kind of demonstrate the fact that he had this role of the observer of society, right? That's why he's there with the camera and kind of like, watching, because this album basically, lyrically is very much about his observations of society and, things like their themes, people trying to fit in and not succeeding, lost love. A popular one is people seeming to have this challenge in differentiating what's real and what's not real. If you listen to the lyrics, it's really interesting. Some people say that he's angry, and that's where that punk kind of aspect comes from. But very incisive, very astute, very observational.
Yeah. I feel like even maybe too much for my little brain.
For you? Yeah. No, I totally get that. What did you think of the record?
It's a good. It is. It's a good record. This is a good. This is a good album, and it was very neat to listen to him. I have heard "Pump It Up," Rock Band. So I had heard that one. I don't think there was anything else on this album that I heard. When I heard Radio.
Is Radio on Rock Band?
I don't. It might have been if you could buy it, but we never played it. And Radio might have been the only other one, because when I heard it, I kind of recognized it, but it wasn't like, oh, I know this song. So Pump It Up was the only song I heard. But I was always kind of weary of Costello, just because I think in listening to him, because when you think of how the album kicks off with No Action, that singing, right? It took me a while to get into Bob Dylan, right? Mm-hmm. And there's still times when you listen to Bob Dylan, you're kind of like, do I like this? Do I like the way that Bob Dylan sounds, right? So when I listen to Costello, I get the same Bob Dylan vocal vibe vocally, but it is fun though. It is fun with the music, the type of music it is. I still don't understand the punk aspect, maybe just because I'm not from back then, but it just good insight into, I think, obviously into him and to what he brought to music at the time. And, just kind of understanding that he was sort of the guy a lot of people look to, artists, kind of moving forward as inspiring through his music and his writing and stuff like that.
Heavily underestimated in that sense.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. I'm glad that A, we're doing this record, but also B, that you see that, because this is a very, very important record. A lot of people credit this record in particular, Elvis Costello himself, in general, as being the transition between pop and punk. Or sorry, punk and new wave. Sorry.
Okay, got it.
Punk and new wave.
Yeah.
He was very, very instrumental, especially this record.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's when you start to kind of break things down and you they're singing songs about love and women and girls and heartbreak and things like that. They're singing it one way, and then they're kind of doing it Elvis Costello's way. That was kind of what I took out of a lot of his writing too. It was something you really have to dive into and be able to read through. He gets a lot of credit, as he should, for the type of lyrics that he puts together, the words that he rhymes together, the kind of the double entendres that he brings out.
Absolutely.
And so I would never catch that if I didn't read about it. Right? I would never pick up on any of that stuff unless you research it. So thank God for the internet. Okay, I don't know how you did it back in the day. I read a phenomenal Rolling Stone review when the album came out, And I don't understand how these reviewers get all this stuff out of listening to the album.
I think a lot of that was derived from the lyrics, right? Because the lyric sheet was in the vinyl. So you just kind of went through the lyrics and pieced it together and kind of juxtaposed it also against the scene that they were a part of, what else was going on at the time, I think, right? Because it's very culturally minded.
Yeah.
You know, it's not.
You mean
just
they weren't distracted by social media while trying to write or listen to their albums or write their reviews? They were just all in it, eh? Nice.
It was a different time, man.
This was a different time.
There was no distractions.
Yeah.
It was a different time.
Well, this is an album that requires no distractions. Like if you're gonna like every album requires no distractions. I get it, people, but for somebody like Costello, I get it. Like like. If you're going to try and take away something from his albums, you need to be in it. Because I actually don't think that they're great songs to just put on and listen to. You know, like I think some of them are okay. Like just like Pump It Up's cool. It's a Living in Paradise is great. You just put it on and you want to listen to it. But there's not a whole lot on here where I'm like, I want to go listen to it for the melodies and for the instrumentations, you know, kind of like with the Police or you know, it just, I didn't get a whole lot of that from.
That's funny because that's one of the things that I like the most about this record is the melodies, you know, like the beat, for example, you know, when he goes into "We're going on a summer holiday," like there's that, it's cool, right? And I sing that part every time I hear the song because it's like this cool melody for me. But I get what you mean because, and that kind of that ties in with the punk aspect of this, right? So the punk for me, the punk descriptor is not punk as you would imagine it. It's not Sex Pistols, it's not Dead Kennedys. The music is jangly, it's nervous, it's anxious, and it's kind of spastic, right? And that's where it's almost paranoid, and that's where the punk aspect comes from. It's almost a misnomer in that way, but that's, people associated that, I think, with punk, because it was kind of fast and like I said, spastic and you know, maybe they just didn't know what else to call it. I don't know if I would call this punk. There might be a better word to describe it, but I don't know what that word is, and I don't think a lot of people know what that word is. It's certainly new wavy. It's certainly poppy. And by the way, there's a lot of borrowing from the Stones and the Beatles on this record. Yes. And as we go through the songs, we're going to talk about that.
Well, why don't we start getting into them then? Because I feel like we've been a little all over the place, which is great because I think there's a lot all over the place to talk about with this. But No Action kicks it off, and cool kickoff. Cool kickoff.
Very cool kickoff. A lot of later in his career, he would kind of emulate this like short, tight. This is like just over 2 minutes. I think this song is short, tight songs. The album was produced by a guy named Nick Lowe, if you know Nick Lowe and the Bad Seeds. And his comment was, I love this, his comment was, I wanted the album to sound like dinosaurs eating cars.
He told an engineer or something, right? To mix the drums like dinosaurs eating cars or something? Yeah. That's wild. That's cool, right? Yeah. That's a great kind of, you know, you can kind of imagine that. Yeah. So I don't know how as an engineer or you would get that sound, but
but I think that in songs like Pump It Up, that's where that jangly kind of like nervous energy comes from, you know, and again, that people called punk. Yeah. For lack of a better term. Yeah, I guess so. They'll still like, would it be 50s or early 60s type like styles in here as well? Like I just and like little triggers, right? Or what was the other one? Backrack. Right. So just there's some of that too, and like this year's Girl, right? There's all kinds of stuff on here. There's Bob Dylan on here. The Hollies are on here. The Beatles and Stones are on here. There's loads of influences. It's great influences, and like I said, like we're gonna go through this. I'm gonna tell you I like a lot of this stuff, and does like, but I also just like I wouldn't just put these songs on, but I do love them
like just listening to it all the way through, like in this body.
You know what? This is his second record. He went on to put out some beautiful, beautiful music that was not as anxious or, spastic. Songs like Veronica, a song about his grandmother. That's not like it's up tempo. It's not like this kind of, sad ballad. Every Day I Read the Book, fantastic song. I don't know if you know that. Okay. Shipbuilding from Punch the Clock, like great records. I would, we won't do them on the show, but I would recommend like go through and have a listen.
Well, it's cool that this is like this is a second album. Like when we talk about the Police, Outlandos, D'Amour being their first album, it feels like a first album, like in terms of like it, like we've said, their musicianship exceeds a first album feel, but this is a second album. This is a cool second album. This is kind of what you would almost expect in a style of this to be a second album. This type of kind of frenetic, anxious. He's getting it all out right now. He's discovering that he can write all this stuff or whatever. I don't know, make money off this stuff, whatever.
The reason why I think like Nick Lowe came in and said your first, and he produced the first record too, but it kind of came out a little bit more country.
Okay.
Like he had their songs like Allison on it that were a little bit more kind of like, swaying. And that's where that I want this record to sound like dinosaurs eating cars comment came from. It's like, let's really like crank this up and make it heavier and harder.
This Year's Girl.
Brilliant. This apparently was like a response to a Stones tune called Stupid Girl, I think.
Yeah.
And in this song you can hear, now we have our Beatles thing, and eventually the show will touch on the Beatles like in the future.
Episode 100. Okay. Give me time.
Maybe we should do that actually. I was thinking that too.
Okay.
But you see, because all roads lead back to the Beatles, my friend.
Okay.
You'll see.
All right.
There's a lot of mid-period Beatles references, especially in this song. The Stones references, again, this is kind of, it emulates a song called Stupid Girl by the Stones on Aftermath, I think was the record. But
the beat, you mentioned
love the beat. See, great melodies, don't you think?
This is a good melody. But again, I wouldn't just be like, I got to put on the beat. Like that's just me. But I do think this is a great melody. I think it's a cool little whatever keyboard organ line, and yeah.
It's fun. Like this kind of had, for me, this had like Alex Huard written all over it. It's just kind of like a bouncy, kind of fun tune. I could see you like grooving to it.
Yeah. Totally, man. Yeah, I did. Definitely. It's a good tune. Yeah.
Pump It Up.
Pump It Up.
Amazing. Right?
Yeah, I mean, there is no disputing anything about this song. This is a great song.
Yeah. And again, the lyrics, if you listen to the lyrics, it's about people, high society, people trying to, demonstrate to you that they are high society, and kind of this inequality in social class, and, how absurd it is, and how much Elvis Costello hated that because it was so like artificial and phony,
Verse 3, I pulled it up here because I love this so much. Like, she's being a bad girl. She's like a chemical. Though you try to stop it, she's like a narcotic. Like, stop it and narcotic. Like, I just, like, those are great words to, like, he just makes it work. You want to torture her. You want to talk to her. All the things you bought for her could not get a temperature. Like, rhyme. Like, like, it's kind of like one of those guys you don't think about. You need to look at his rhyming capabilities, because he's rhyming. I don't know. It seems easy. It seems easy to rhyme words. Okay, and maybe it is certain words, but then you look at words like these and verses like these that he's rhyming together, and you're like, I haven't even scratched the surface. I'm writing dog with smog.
Right, exactly. But that's like Sting with Forenza and Influenza. We talked about that on the last episode. It's just like these guys just do this stuff, and it was such a beautiful period for music in that sense, because you could get away with that, and it was cool, and people really liked it. And there was a kind of an intellectual aspect to that too, where these guys were showing off a little bit.
Showing off,
a lot of bravado
100%.
involved. Yeah.
Absolutely. There's a couple, I think, if I can try and remember where they come up later on in some of these songs, but there's a couple other places in his music where the rhyming really like just blew my mind. Cool, interesting fact about this is his Subterranean Homesick Blues homage, essentially.
Yeah, that's right.
from Bob Dylan.
John is in the basement mixing up the medicine. I'm on the pavement thinking about the government. I've been a listen to the music.
But then he also goes on to say as well that Subterranean Homesick Blues is to Chuck Berry's Too Much Monkey Business.
Payphone, something wrong, dime gone, will mail, order suitor operator for telling me a tale.
So it's kind of like, I guess U2 had a song come out that sounded like Pump It Up, Get on Your Boots.
The future needs a big kiss, winds blow with a twist. Never seen a move like this, can you see it too?
Bob Dylan said to him, how could U2 do that to you? How could they take your song like that? And Costello says, it took me a moment to know what he was talking about and a moment more to realize that he was putting me on. But then U2's Get on Your Boots was probably to pump it up what Subterranean Homesick Blues is to Chuck Berry's Too Much Monkey Business.
Running to and fro, hard working at the mill, never fail in the mill, yet come a rotten bill.
Maggie comes Fleetfoot, face full of black soot, talking at your heat, put plants in the bed, but listen to the music, thinking that, listen that, she said that's that. Someone stuff to blowing up, we're into growing up, women of the future, hold a big rep.
Again, like, is it homage or is it ripoff?
Or is it ripoff? Well, we'll talk about Little Triggers, but the song after that one is definitely a ripoff.
Certainly it is. Yes. Yeah.
Little Triggers.
That's a very obvious one. Little Triggers, funny, and that's a huge departure from Pump It Up, right?
Yes. Yeah.
A nice little kind of Burt Bacharach inflected, period piece there. Really nice, tasteful. But, the funny thing about these songs, and there's a couple of them on the record, is that when you listen to the lyrics, you find that he's never in a relationship. It's always about a relationship that's about to happen, or it's about a relationship that just ended, right? And I don't know if that's because those are very kind of more intense times, but he's never singing about being in a relationship.
Never. I didn't pick up on that one. We just went through a separation, I think, after this album. Was it after this?
During this record, he had a girlfriend named Mary something, and he stayed with one of his band members to try to avoid her.
Oh, wow. Okay.
For whatever reason, and eventually they broke up because she didn't want to deal with it. But yeah.
Yeah.
He wanted to focus on this.
Musicians. There's nothing good about being married to musicians other than the money, This was okay. Little Triggers was okay. It's like you said, it kind of reminded me of that song Blue Moon, right? Blue Moon. Yeah, so that's kind of where I get that sort of like older,
it is for sure.
Quartet vibe.
Yeah.
But yeah, You Belong to Me.
You say it. Where did it come from?
Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
What song was it?
The Last Time. But again, see, I made that Buddy Holly reference. Like, this came out around the Buddy Holly time. It's just that jangly do. Like, it's that. It was a very familiar kind of pattern. And it's completely lifted from The Last Time. It's the exact same chords and the exact same delivery, like all of that. I don't know how he got away with that. But again, is it homage? Did he say, well, this is a tribute to the Stones, it's who I love? Or did he just steal it? I don't know.
It's making me feel like it's okay to just rip people's music off now. I just feel like
that's Jimmy Page.
Yeah, good point. Yeah. It's funny actually. This might be the one song, along with "Pump It Up," I would just put on randomly. I would say,
really?
This might be a fun one for me to just be like, oh man, I gotta it's kind of a fun drive down the road in the summertime, windows down type song. You Belong to Me.
Wow, I would have never See, when I think of this record, I think obviously of like Pump It Up, but I also think of Chelsea, which we'll get to. Yeah, it's a great tune. Yeah.
So was that the end of side one?
Oh, it's the end of side one.
Almost, or is Hand in Hand the end of side one?
This is Hand in Hand's the first song on side two.
It is first of side two.
Yep. Time for you to go to the lobby, Alex.
Hand in Hand's nice.
See, that is early Beatles. That little beat.
Okay.
That's like that's a Mersey beat shuffle.
Okay, that's what they call it.
Again, when we do your Beatles schooling,
you're
going to learn all this.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, good melody actually in this one. In the pre-chorus there, it's not bad. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, I like it.
Again, it's all part and parcel with the album. It feels right. It feels good.
How about Chelsea?
Well, first of all, the drumming intro is Fire by Jimi Hendrix and the Experience.
Really?
It's not my favorite.
I don't want to go to Chelsea.
I don't want to go to Chelsea.
Really.
Yeah,
this is like a really great tune. Wow. Wow, I'm surprised by that. I thought you'd like it for sure.
Oh yeah? No,
it's funky.
It's weird. It's a little too weird for me.
Really?
Yeah. But there's kind of like some pretty deep meaning behind this one, right? This is kind of.
There is.
Do you know much of the story behind this one? I don't know I don't know well enough to talk about it too much, but
generally it's about Costello thinking that fame is like this nightmare of like artifice and phoniness and like just plasticity, and he hated that so much. He was definitely anti-establishment and anti-commercial and all that stuff. And again, that's the punk ethos, right? But the song, I don't want to go to Chelsea. He saw Chelsea as this kind of hell that, all these famous people went to, and they were artificial and empty, and he didn't want to be that guy.
Chelsea being like Chelsea, London,
in
right?
New York. I don't know. Yeah, I guess so. There's also a Chelsea in New York.
Okay, Chelsea Hotel, because they said he was probably talking about Andy Warhol's 1966 3-hour experimental film Chelsea Girls, which followed the ongoings of the legendary Chelsea Hotel. That's just somebody's take on it, but there's just so much in these songs. Yeah, exactly. You can't really follow too much. Like, I have to pull them. I have to look at like what is he trying to? What are people getting away from this? Because I don't know.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah. It's actually been really cool, actually. These songs have been really cool to look up, to go through the lyrics and get a sense of where people's heads at these times were at,
Right.
This is pretty crazy.
But, it's so great that we're doing this because it adds so much perspective and it fills in a lot of the gaps and the blanks, right? Because oftentimes people just look at this in a very linear notion. They just kind of say, Pump It Up has a good beat, and that's it. And there's so much more to it that you're missing out on if you don't kind of get into this and kind of peel away some of the layers of it.
Yeah, and honestly, if you're doing this along with us, like one thing I've had to like put aside is like feeling any shame of going in and looking up lyrics and looking up what they mean, because before you try and be like, well, I should just listen to the song and understand what it's about. I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I can't, like, I don't, like, I gotta look this stuff up. I gotta look it up. I want to understand. Like, I want to get it.
You know what I used to do when I was a kid? I used to do two things. So I used to, because the lyric sheet was not always guaranteed in the record when I was a teenager. Sometimes it was there, sometimes it was not there. So what I would do is I would listen to the album and I would form my own impression of what I thought it meant. And then I would read the lyrics and then kind of like juxtapose those two things and say, wow, wow, that's really cool. Because I would broaden my perspective often if it wasn't obvious or if I could hear what the people were saying. But also I tried not to look at pictures of musicians and bands because I didn't want to know what they looked like. I kind of wanted to make it up in my head.
Yeah.
And then I would look at the picture and to see if I was right or not. And that was a funny game because, oh my God, like I was wrong every single time.
Everybody looked the same upon initial thought, wasn't it? Everybody was just like, you look like this.
He must look like this person. And
yes.
Like, not at all.
No.
That was funny.
Boy, were you wrong about what ZZ Top looked like. That's for sure. They couldn't possibly. Yeah. Living in Paradise. Wait, Did I skip one? I think I skipped one. Did we talk lip service? No, lip service.
Oh, lip service.
Sorry, my fault. Yeah, it's all right.
So this is like super Holly's Beatles, like mid-period Beatles.
Okay.
Birds type sounding.
But it's new wave, Brent. It's new wave.
Not this song.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. See, there's a lot of stuff on here.
Lip service is all you'll get from me. Lip service.
Again, just about
think about it. Yeah.
The artifice of what it means to be famous and rich.
Yeah. Don't make any sudden movements. These are dangerous amusements. When did you become so choosy? Don't act like you're above me. Just look at your shoes. Okay.
Wow.
Good. Look at the shoes. So it's generally actually it's a good tell. How do people keep their shoes? He's correct. Living in Paradise. I jumped ahead because I really love this.
It's a very interesting observation.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It is true. It is true. There's a lot of truth to that, right?
Yeah.
Looking at somebody's shoes.
Oh, that could tell you a lot. That could tell you a lot about somebody.
It's absolutely.
It could absolutely tell you. It could tell you absolutely nothing, but generally it tells you something. Especially in the wintertime. Like you're only wearing boots that are torn to shit. So like don't judge people by their shoes in the wintertime, but summertime for sure. Living in Paradise, great song. I love this song. I love the chorus.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Fun little, almost like a little fun reggae tune.
Yeah. I think this is my favorite song on the album, Living in Paradise.
Oh, nice. See, again, like this is your kind of tune.
Lipstick Vogue.
So this tune speaks to like the skill of this band, right? Like think about the drums, the little piano flourishes in there sometimes. Man, they smoke on this tune, that band.
Tight. Yeah. This feels punk. This song is punk.
Yes.
That's what I would say.
Yeah. I could see that.
Oh yeah, like if you sure if you doubled the BPM of any song it'd become punk, but this one like if you really like even just bumped it up like another 10 to 20 BPMs, I think you're right in the middle of a punk show with this song. Yeah.
I love the interlude in this, the bass, that little bass line, do 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 do. You know, and it speeds up and speeds up and speeds up. Yeah, but again, it speaks to the skill because, like, it's just fantastic playing.
Again, it's like the Police playing.
You know this, right? Who's no, really, true, right? And again, that dichotomy of like, are you punk? Because punks don't play like that. Punks don't have that kind of musical superiority. And that's not, a discredit to punk music. That's just part of the package. Yeah. What was I going to say about... Oh, yeah. So this occurred to me when I was thinking about this record today. Okay. So they had two guys in the band named Thomas, right? One was Pete. And one was Bruce. So yes. Bruce played the bass and Pete played drums. Mm-hmm. Now, Pete was in this band called Chili Willy and the Red Hot Peppers. Yeah. That sounds really stupid, doesn't it? It does. But it occurred to me today that sometimes we overlook the stupidity of things. Okay. Here's what I mean by that. So if you and I had just met and you said to me, and you didn't know anything about music at all, like just hypothetically wipe out music history in your mind. Okay? Just for a second. You see where I'm going with this. You gonna be okay? There you go.
I was just trying to do that.
Okay. Yep. So, hey, I play in a band, and you say, hey, what's the name of your band? And I said, my band's name is the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Would you not think that I was like such an idiot? You feel like, surely you can come up with a better name for your band than the Red Hot Chili Peppers. but we don't think that, right?
Right.
It's like, what are you listening to? The Red Hot Chili Peppers. Oh, cool.
Ah, sick. Yeah.
Nobody goes, well, what a stupid name for a band. Do you know what I mean? Isn't that peculiar that we do that?
Because you felt that when you heard about the Chili Willy and the Red Hot Peppers, you were like, that's a stupid name for a band. But then you think of Red Hot Chili Peppers and you're like, yeah. It's hilarious you say that, man, because when I read that, I was like, Chili Willy and the Red Hot Peppers. Like, did they take the name from? Did they just change those words?
Maybe it was a '70s band. Maybe they did. I don't know. But
I mean, Kiedis was pretty messed up. He probably could have.
Probably.
Yeah. Hey, man, for sure. It's just one way or the other. Well, it's the Chili Willy part, right? The Red Hot Chili Peppers, for some reason, sounds cool. Maybe it's because it's ingrained in my head that it sounds cool.
That's my whole point. It's ingrained in your head for some reason that it's not, but it's dumb.
It is dumb.
I'm not a big fan. Name your band anything. Like, think about
Foo Fighters.
I don't know. Like, okay, that's a bit weird, but like, there's band names that you'd hear them and go, like Black Sabbath, right?
Right.
That's kind of cool. Guns N' Roses. That's kind of cool. The Tragically Hip. That's cool.
Yeah.
Right? Fucking Red Hot Chili Peppers. Is that all you got? Really? But we think nothing of it. That's the funny thing. That's my point. It's very peculiar.
Because they were cool,
sidebar,
man.
Little side note.
Nice little sidebar.
Yeah.
You bet. Lipstick Vogue is good. It's a good song. Night Rally.
Skipper for me too. It's a political song, I think, about totalitarianism.
Yeah, that's it. That's the big word.
It is. Do you know what that is?
Totalitarianism?
Mm-hmm. It's about controlling society, basically. What it means is there can be no opposition. Everybody has to think the exact same way. And if you oppose anything in any way, then you're an outlier and you're kind of, exiled.
Right. Stalin was a good guy at totalitarianism. Correct. Right.
Yeah.
He wasn't a good guy. He was good. He was a totalitarian. Yeah. He was a good. Skipper. But would that have been it? Or no? So radio.
No. So there was what's the
Big Tears.
Big Tears and Radio were not on the original release, I don't believe.
Got it.
And again, weird because Radio turned out to be a huge hit.
Huge hit.
Do you know the story behind Big Tears? Is kind of a throwaway tune, and I don't really like it. And I
think the only interesting part of Big Tears is the guitar player for the Clash played.
Oh yeah, Mick Jones.
Yeah, and there was rumors that Costello was going to poach him from the Clash to play in the attractions. And once that got out, then he was like, "Nah, okay, we can't do this." So then he stayed with the Clash. Anyway, so
wow,
it's just rumors. No.
Okay, I like that stuff.
Yeah.
Where there's smoke, there's fire, Alex.
Could be, yeah. But we're radio. Yeah, so that's
big hit.
Big hit.
Do you know the story behind this? It's not the story behind the song, but something cool. Well, not cool, but interesting happened.
Yeah, so the idea of the song is about BBC basically censoring radio, right? Like saying basically getting it, watering it down, taking punk off the radio, mainstreaming everything, nothing interesting being on the radios, basically.
Commercializing everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was his complaint.
Yeah.
So Elvis Costello and the Attractions were asked to fill in for the Sex Pistols on Saturday Night Live at the very last minute.
Right.
So they got brought in, and they played Watching the Detectives, which is an amazing track. And then they played, for their second tune, they started playing a song called Lesson Zero. And then, for some reason, I've seen the clip, it's very odd, they play it, and then Costello turns around at the band and cuts them off, and then counts them into Radio. And then they're playing Radio, but Lorne Michaels, the boss of SNL, was so pissed that he banned Elvis Costello until 1989 from performing on the show. Yeah, he was so angry about it. Because the song, in essence, is about the commercialization of broadcasting in general.
Right. Yeah. And I think too they were asked not to play it.
Right.
They were, who do we experience that with before? Don't play this song, or we're going to play it anyways. What band did that?
The Doors.
The Doors.
Don't sing this line.
Yeah.
I'm going to sing it anyway.
You're going to sing it anyway. Look right at the
camera. Or
camera.
they say, okay, and then they do it.
Yeah, they come out and they do it. Like, of course. Like, don't tell musicians. Anyways, yeah.
I know you're just asking for it if you do that.
You are. Don't tell them that. It's cool, though. It's cool. Like, yeah, so they replaced the Sex Pistols. The Ramones, I think, were asked first, and the Ramones says, we don't replace anybody. Like, we do it. You ask us to do it. We don't come in as a replacement.
I didn't know that.
The additional funny part was the Sex Pistols manager. So the reason why the Sex Pistols couldn't make it was because their visas were not up to date, or they had expired, or they didn't have visas to make it over to the United States to play the show.
Yep.
And that was on the manager. The manager didn't get them visas in time.
Oof.
So the drummer, Pete, wore a shirt that said, like, thanks to the manager. Like, thanks, and then the manager of the Sex Pistols' name, it was like, thanks, Mac, or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, because it was like, gave them the opportunity to go and
that's funny.
They go and play on SNL.
Yeah. Wow. And then they got banned.
And then they got banned. Yeah, exactly.
That's funny.
I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5.
Good.
It's a 4 for me. I recognize it. I recognize it. It's not, it's not all my favorite stuff. It's really well put together. I appreciate it, and it's not like I can't listen to this type stuff. That's not what it was. So
I get it. Well done.
Yeah.
Good. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad that you. I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad that we were able to talk about it.
Me too.
It's a favorite.
Good stories behind it too. I think I want to dive into Elvis Costello a little more too. He seems like a pretty interesting character. Speaks his mind a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll go and listen to all of his other stuff, and I highly recommend the album "Punch the Clock."
Punch the Clock. Okay, cool. I'll check it out for sure.
Very good. Okay, so now the burning question:
will we stay new wavy?
What comes next?
Do we go ska? Do we go reggae? What are you doing? What's up?
I was thinking,
keep talking to just like keep interrupting, just so you can never actually get an album. How do I just keep? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I have all night. Just go ahead.
Okay, got it.
I was thinking as we were talking that maybe the Clash might be a great next step.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't. I was thinking again as we were talking of the Clash. They have 2 great records, London Calling,
right,
and also Combat Rock. And I think that we should probably do London Calling.
Okay.
Instead, let's do that.
I think I know that song.
Clash
London
it is.
Calling.
Yes, you do for sure. But great record. Yeah.
Great. Cool, man. Cool. Yeah. This is an interesting little
foray.
Yeah, little tuck away here. This is cool. Okay, the Clash, London Calling. Nice. All right, man. Well, on that note, I will send you away. I got this little book in front of me that I look at to remind myself.
What is this now? Tell me about this.
Good vibes only.
Is this
so
like
I bought Karina a cookbook?
Okay. A what? A cookbook?
I bought her a cookbook. She wanted a cookbook. Good. And in order to get free shipping, I had to spend an extra $3. Okay. So I was like,
so you bought that book?
Maybe what can I get? So, yeah.
And what is in that book? What can we expect?
A bunch of quotes, inspirational things. Honestly, the most inspiring part of the book I find is the cover. Good vibes only. That's the thing. Everything else in here is kind of like, if you spend your whole life waiting for the storm, you'll never enjoy the sunshine.
No.
Or, oh no. If you believe in yourself, anything is possible.
Really? That's an actual quote?
That was what Miley Cyrus said.
Oh my God.
Right. So it's just kind of like, it's pretty corny, but, sometimes so I just pick it up. Sometimes like it's good for a laugh. Look at us, we're laughing,
That's
right?
it.
So
Like, that's
so like on Teams calls at work, right? I'll be like in a meeting, and if things are going downhill, I'll be like, hey guys, just remember, good vibes only. And then everybody goes, oh, read something from there. And then I read something, and then we go, that's so stupid, like maybe you want to be happy.
There's an ironic, unintended entertainment value associated with it.
Exactly, right? It's meant to be like good vibe. It's meant to be positive, and we basically just shit all over it. So, yeah, it's good. Hope transforms pessimism into optimism. Hope is invincible. What? So, anyways, that's why.
Really like that.
No kidding. That's why the cover is really just the best thing, just to flash at people.
Good cover only.
Good vibes.
The rest
only,
of the book sucks.
That's good for a laugh. Good for a laugh. Great, man.
All right, man.
Cheers. We'll see you next week for the Clash.
Cheers to you, and most like you.